Welcome to That's Canon, a podcast talking about the Canon film series and other similar movies. This is episode 40, and I'm your host, Phil.
And I'm the other host, Greg.
And Greg, we watched a political thriller this week called The
Yes.
Ambassador. And
And boy, were we thrilled.
I that's exactly where was the thrill.
Yeah, not so much a thriller. Like you hear political thriller and you think like the Manchurian Candidate or something like that, where there's actually like engaging intrigue. Nothing about this was engaging whatsoever.
And it's like, I thought the plot overall was pretty convoluted and a lot of stuff, a lot of names, a lot of organizations. And I gotta tell you, I didn't understand a lot of it.
No, it was definitely early on a lot of like whiplash because you're just constantly being introduced to characters and switching between different groups of characters in the movie. The editing was like really frenetic. Even by the end, I was in the same boat. I a lot of it kind of, wait, who was trying to double cross who, and who was blackmailing who, and it never really, like, normally these movies, I feel like by the end it all kind of falls into place with a couple of good reveals. But yeah, I was left pretty confused through most of this, which is kind of the point of a political thriller, is to have all those loose ends get tied in a satisfying way. But so it kind of failed completely.
There was one reveal in the movie that I appreciated. Ayo.
Hey, and we will get into this.
But yeah, so I guess let's start talking The Ambassador. Now, the film was directed by J. Lee Thompson, who had a really long career. This isn't just some flash in the pan director that they got out of nowhere. He's directed The Guns of Navarone, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, the original Cape Fear. So, like, this is a director who knows what they're doing.
You got a couple like better genre movies under his belt.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It stars Robert Mitchum and Ruck Hudson. This is Ruck Hudson's final theatrical film to come out.
Really?
Yeah.
He wasn't that old in this.
He wasn't. He passed away in 1985 at the age of 59.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
I want to say, and if I'm wrong, I'll just edit it out and no one will know that I said it. I believe he died due to complication of AIDS.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, I guess this was probably like peak AIDS epidemic in the 80s.
Yep.
But still, that's sad. I would have no idea.
Ruck Hudson died October 2nd, 1985. Hudson died in his sleep from AIDS-related complications. Because I guess you don't die from AIDS, you die from something that, you know.
Yeah, like opportunistic diseases that crop up afterwards.
Yep.
Well, that's sad.
Ruck Hudson was extremely famous because he's a handsome dude. He was handsome in this, you know, even in his older age of being almost 60.
Distinguished, yes.
But he was, a lot of the mystery or mystique of Ruck Hudson's career was kind of his sexuality. And
oh yeah, I feel like we might have talked about this when we did a preview in our previous episode, where he was kind of like a teen heartthrob or something, wasn't he?
Yeah,
back in the day,
a lot of women loved him.
Women
loved him. Guys wanted to be with him or be him. That was a Freudian slip.
Am I being attracted to Ruck Hudson right now?
But ooh. Yeah, he was gay, but closeted because of the times that he was, in, Hollywood and stuff like that. You couldn't be gay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It also started Robert Mitchum, who previously worked the director in Cape Fear. He was the original Max Candy. Robert Mitchum has been in a lot of stuff. I mean, his career has spanned decades, just like Ruck Hudson. So
this had a lot of it. Looking at some of the cast list myself right now, it looks like there's a lot of, it's almost like a transitionary movie where there's a lot of like those Ruck Hudson and him. They were kind of stars from a previous generation.
Yeah.
And then you get Ellen Burstyn and Donald Pleasance, who are kind of like not necessarily contemporaries, but like kind of like the generation after that. There are quite a few recognizable names in this.
Oh, definitely. 100%. And we'll actually get to enjoy J. Lee Thompson's directing even more as he did Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
Oh heck yeah! Why do I get the feeling that you said yeah, you said all that with air quotes?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Enjoy quotes.
It's gonna be awful.
It's gonna be something.
But yeah, so the movie, it opens up just like every good movie should, with like 5 paragraphs worth of text.
Oh god, yeah. That was my first note. It was just like oh god, a massive text crawl in red text, by the way, which was really hard to read. I don't know if it was just me.
Oh yeah, no,
but
red text on a black background. What a stupid
yeah,
choice.
yeah, really stupid, especially in like the low res, like crappy third generation copy that we saw.
Yes.
Which it's all just like JPEG blurry nonsense.
To kind of sum it up in my horrible, I don't really understand what's going on. There's an organization called the Palestine Liberation Organization that has vowed to never recognize Israel's right to exist and to fight until a Palestine homeland is realized. And then there's Syrians and the Mohab. There's a lot of words here that I don't really understand. But eventually we get to Ruck Hudson and Robert Mitchum driving in the desert. And they look like it almost looks like they're out just for a Sunday drive.
Yeah, they were weirdly not concerned with whatever they were doing. It does look like it like a little pleasure cruise or something.
Exactly. I will say this up front. I don't think Robert Mitchum or Ruck Hudson acted in this movie. It almost seemed like throughout the entire film, they were just talking the lines.
Robert Mitchum, 100% agree. He barely reacted to any of the things which a normal person would react strongly to, and I'm sure we'll get to those. Ruck Hudson had one, which is where the quote of the week comes in. He had one small scene where he actually said something funny and aggressive. It's something that you would expect in a movie like this. But otherwise, yeah, you're right. It seemed like they were just practically reading cue cards. They were did like no emoting whatsoever.
Also, did Robert Mitchum ever open his eyes in this movie? They were constantly squinty.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Is that just his look? Like, does he just kind of have a squinty-eyed look about him all the time, or was it just because he was in a sunny desert for most of the movie?
If you look at his IMDb profile, you can clearly see his eyeballs in a lot of the pictures that he has in there. So I don't know. Maybe that's what he just characterized him as the ambassador.
Yes, if I squint my eyes, I look more distinguished and serious.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get a lot of the choices for this. Meanwhile, though, and it's kind of like intercut between Ruck Hudson and Robert Mitchum doing their Sunday drive to Ellen Burstyn of Exorcist fame walking through Israel, Jerusalem to be more specific.
Right, like the commercial district. There's lots of shops and cafes and stuff, and a lot of people around, a lot of tourists. It looks like, kind of like the central hub of. I don't know where it is, but yeah, we see her kind of walking around. And I have to mention at this point that when I mentioned Whiplash before, this is what I was talking about, because we get so much intercutting between what she's doing and what the two guys are doing in their Jeep. I was so confused about who was doing what. And it like made it impossible to sort of like get in the groove of what they were doing of the movie.
And
you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Because there's also a third character that's introduced that's kind of has an air of mystery about him. And he doesn't really talk. So you're kind of wondering, who the fuck is this guy? And why do we even care he exists?
Yeah. I felt that way about all three of the 3 different scenes they were cutting between, because we just don't spend it. We didn't spend enough time with any one of them to really like learn and get in the groove of like, oh, okay, she's doing this. Here's where she's going. Here's like with any opportunity to learn about what they were doing and get invested. It was just like boom, 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 boom. Really frenetic editing.
Exactly. But I will say this. In the beginning, when you're getting all those quick cuts and you see, I guess, the odd couple out, which is 2 men together, it's really great that the hook from Enter the Ninja has returned.
Wait, what?
The small red-headed guy that has slicked back hair and is driving. We're just gonna spoil it. The KGB assassin around. That's the Hook from Enter the Ninja. Remember Enter the Ninja? The
I
German guy that had the hook hand and that kept kicking his ass the entire movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That is him. I knew he kind of looked familiar.
exactly.
Only he had a really bad German accent in that
Yes.
one, right?
Yep.
Oh man.
The Hook is back.
The Hook is back. Wasn't he the guy he was the one who was hassling the cockfighting
Yeah.
guy from Enter the Ninja?
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee. Oh, Pee-wee, my guy. Oh
He-
wow. I great spot on that one. I knew he in the back of my mind he kind of looked familiar, but I did not piece that together myself. Wow.
And I'm not going to say that this guy is some huge actor because we don't even really know his name. He's just the Hook. But
he's the Hook.
It's odd that these two exist in this movie because they do so little in it. And the movie feels so compact and full at times and so empty at times that they never give these characters room to do anything.
Yeah, no room to breathe or to kind of like get a feel for them because yeah, again, we're intercutting with so many different groups of people, so many different characters. Like, yeah, you get to spend no time with them, kind of learning about them or really caring about them, which kind of makes the rest of the movie not really work for a lot of reasons we'll get into.
Oh, 100%. We eventually get to a point where Robert Mitchum and Ruck Hudson are kind of like overlooking the Palestinian, I guess, scenery, right? And they kind of make a couple shitty jokes to each other because I guess, we're friends. And they're like, oh man, we should be really worried about what we're doing. He's like, yeah, but, Ruck Hudson's like, I don't have any wife or kids. The only person who's going to miss me is my creditors. And then we're like not even 10 minutes into the movie yet, and Ellen Burstyn walks into a jewelry store. And at first I was like, man, she's a bitch in this movie because she ruins a sale.
Oh yeah, she was like, there's like the shopkeeper and he's trying to hawk like a fake historic necklace to some tourist and she totally blows his game. He's like, oh yeah, that amber is coated plastic, isn't it? And he's clearly getting pissed at her for it. Like, wow, way to go.
Pissed with love because these two,
that's a saying.
Yeah, because these two, like, in like 2 minutes later, they're pounding each other.
Oh, that's a word that I never thought that we'd ever utter in the same sentence as Ellen Burstyn.
How off guard were you caught with seeing Ellen Burstyn naked in this movie?
Yeah, listeners, let that sink in for a second. Ellen Burstyn of Requiem for a Dream and Exorcist fame, we get a really abrupt topless scene with her and this shopkeeper who she's clearly having an affair with. Yeah, to answer your question, majorly caught off guard. Like my notes are all caps. Holy shit, Ellen Burstyn gets topless in this shitty movie.
Yeah.
Like what?
Look, I'm not like, who is it? Mr. Skin or anything like that. I don't know when actresses get naked in things, but I'll say two things. One, Ellen Burstyn is a 52-year-old woman in this. She looks great. Go her for going naked
100%
in this movie. Two, why did she wait till she was fucking 52 to do this though?
I don't know. That's what made me think. Again, I'm not one of those creeps who's like got a database of what actresses get topless in which movies. But is this the first one that you know for sure?
I have only seen like a handful of Ellen Burstyn movies. This is the first time I've ever seen her topless in anything.
And it's what a weird choice. This movie of all movies.
Yeah.
Why not? Like she played an actress in The Exorcist, right?
She did.
Why not have it be a scene that she's filming within that movie, right? Like you could think of any number of better movies that she's been in to do that scene, why now? And yeah, I mean, like you said, she looks great in this, no question, especially for a 52-year-old woman. Like, more power to her, but why now? Why in this crappy canon movie?
And this is 100% the reason why the movie's rated R. There's very little language in it, or well, I guess maybe at the
The
end the
last scene,
violence.
yeah. But you're right. I mean, we've seen worse violence and language in PG-13 movies. I think you're right. I think that is because there's really no other sex scenes to
Yeah.
speak of later on. It's just Ellen Burstyn getting busy with this shopkeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, you know what it reminded me of? Remember way back in the ancient days of That's Canon where we watched Joe, our first proper canon movie. And like in the first scene of that movie, we get Susan Sarandon topless.
Oh yeah.
Like getting into a filthy bathtub with her drug addict boyfriend. That, like, I was caught off guard majorly by that. This blew that out of the water.
Yeah.
I practically like spit out the cereal I was eating when I saw this happen.
Oh, my Fruit Loops.
Which is a weird thing to be eating while watching this movie, but it's an even weirder thing to be eating when you're seeing Ellen Burstyn topless
Yeah.
in the movie, expecting it.
But yeah, so I mean, it happens, and I was so caught off guard by it that when it cuts back to like Robert Mitchum and Ruck Hudson, I'm kind of going like, what the fuck are they doing out there?
What just happened?
And it's so odd. They're trying to like broker peace. And again, it's really hard to care because as Ruck Hudson and Robert Mitchum are trying to rouse young people of both Israel and Palestine to protest against the war, to force peace in this region of the world. It's really hard to care about that because it still cuts back and forth between them and Ellen Burstyn having sex.
Yeah, it kind of undercuts both of those scenes.
Yeah.
Like the Ellen Burstyn one, it's not, sexy or, emotional in any way because you keep cutting back and forth. And then you can't care about the political intrigue of what the other two guys are doing because we don't spend enough time to hear what they're saying and doing.
Yeah. Also, we don't know Ellen Burstyn and we don't know this other guy, so we don't get their relationship. It's just a sex scene. So it happens way too quick. All these things are you need to focus on the Robert Mitchum, Ruck Hudson chemistry before we have to care about Ellen.
Yeah.
Because we don't even know who Ellen Burstyn is up with in this movie yet. We don't know that she's the wife of Robert Mitchum.
Yeah.
So
all of this stuff that we're saying about like what these characters are doing is totally dependent on us having seen the whole movie and looking back at these early scenes. Because up to this point, we're still very much in who the fuck are these people mode.
Yep. And because it's a canon film, they throw in an action sequence as Robert Mitchum and Ruck Hudson are trying to broker peace or get a political action going. Israeli forces and I guess Palestinian forces arrive and just start nuking each other.
Yeah, it's like suddenly out of nowhere, like a helicopter swoops in, which is expensive for a canon movie, I'll point out. But yeah, like there's like a gunship practically like swoops in and starts shooting at the I assume that's an Israeli helicopter, and they're shooting at Palestinians in and around where they're having this little like meeting, I guess.
Yeah.
And it comes out of nowhere, and there's explosions and gunshots and a couple squibs go off. It comes out of nowhere.
It's interesting. The Israeli forces show up and they start to arrest Robert Mitchum and Ruck Hudson. And Ruck Hudson's like, "Hey, don't you know who this is?" And he's like, "I've seen you on the TV. You're the ambassador." And I'm just thinking, like, how the fuck does this grunt know who that is? I would never be able to point out an ambassador to you.
A foreign ambassador. Yeah, I mean, even if you were casually watching the news and like, what's the likelihood of this guy watching enough news to recognize his face in the field? No way. No way.
Also, I forgot who it was, if it was Ruck Hudson or Robert Mitchum, but one of them, while the action is going, just very plainly goes, "Oh shit." Just like
With
no
no emotion.
emotion, no emphasis. He's
Oh,
just,
gee whiz.
just
Those bullets sure are loud.
yeah, he's just watching people get fucking murdered.
Yippee.
He's just like, oh shit.
Nothing. The unflappable Rock Hudson, Robert Mitchum, action ambassador.
Yeah. We cut to a nice office and we get to hear the always beautiful sounds of Donald Pleasance ringing in our ears.
But what's not pleasant about it is he's not yelling.
He's not.
We need Donald Pleasance yelling. He's talking very in measured tones, and I don't like it.
I don't think he yells once in this movie. Also, he doesn't have facial hair. I like my Donald Pleasance with a beard or a goatee or something.
Yeah. That's the choice, Donald Pleasance.
Yes, yelling with facial hair.
Yelling with facial hair.
In a trench
In
coat.
a priest conference. Oh, there we go. Yes.
Or as dressed as a priest, yelling at
we just
evil.
Tip some of our favorite movies there, yeah. Yelling at Liquid Satan.
Liquid Satan or men in white masks. He's Israeli. He's the Israeli Minister of Defense in this movie.
Is he the minister? Okay, I wasn't sure if he's like a minister of defense or like in like the intelligence agency. They don't really say.
No,
they
don't. I 100% base this off of what I read in Wikipedia and other places after watching this movie.
Right.
And he's upset, kind of like a dad. He's kind of disappointed that the ambassador and Rock Hudson were in the desert trying to stir the young people of the world for peace because he didn't know about it.
Yeah, I think that's what we learn is kind of this ambassador's whole like his whole shtick is that he's trying to broker peace through like back channels, because like all the like official ambassadors are all kind of too entrenched. So he's trying to, like you said, go to like colleges and universities and like kind of back channel brokering and trying to getting them to talk behind, in informal channels, I guess is the best way to put it, which pisses off Donald Pleasance apparently.
Which, I mean, I guess, I don't understand. I guess he's upset that he's just not in on it. Not that they're trying to get peace, but
yeah.
Anyways, we cut back. Ellen Burstyn and this jewelry guy, they're done having sex or sweet talking each other in bed. And as they leave, a mysterious young child kind of guy. I don't know if this guy is 16 or 30. Like,
yeah, definitely one of those 13 or 30 kind of guys. Get a baby face. He's kind of a smaller guy. I'm just a political agent.
Exactly. He's the nerdy guy from The Simpsons.
I'm gonna trail this guy. He's up to no good.
He breaks in. He doesn't even break into it because he has the fucking key. He goes into the jeweler's bedroom, and inside of it is planted a camera, and it filmed them having sex. And guess what? That's the plot of the movie. You can almost put everything aside, brokering peace between Palestine and Israel, or any other idea that you have. It is Find Robert Mitchum's Wife's Sex Tape, the movie.
It 100% is. It is until it isn't, though. Until the last like 10 minutes.
I was about to say
that is out the window.
It's okay. Let's just keep going because there's so many funny parts to this movie that shouldn't be funny.
Yes.
We cut back.
The sex tape.
Robert Mitchum goes into his office. Ruck Hudson. God damn it. Rock Hudson. Rucker Hauer Hudson. He goes into a closet and it's filled with like schlitzes and bottles of booze and cigarettes, but it's actually a secret like passageway into a comms room.
Yeah, a bunch of radios and stuff. Is that his? Is it like an American listening station? Like, what was that?
I think it's plot point 1 that got dropped. It's Rock Hudson. He calls back to home station and he's like, we need to get Robert Mitchum promoted or fired from his position. He's too much of a loose cannon. And you think that this would go somewhere in this movie with political intrigue, but this is the last time you hear of this.
Yeah, and that's why that's like one element of my major confusion about the whole plot here is because I thought originally like, oh crap, like this poor ambassador, he's getting backstabbed from so many different angles. Like his wife is cheating on him, and his head of security or his partner, whoever this Ruck Hudson is, he's like sneaking around trying to get him fired, or like I thought that was going to become more into play, but you're right, it just gets dropped.
Yeah, I was kind of you know, it. Once I saw that, I realized this is the kind of movie that we're getting, a movie that doesn't even care about itself.
No.
But man,
Political intrigue, that sounds like a really hard thing to do. Let's just do this weird sex tape thing,
that's
right?
exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like two writers sat in a room and they started off their first 15 minutes hard and they were like, "Oh man, I don't understand politics. Let's just make Ellen Burstyn take her top off and we'll
I don't understand, Bob. But you know what? I do understand, Bob. Boobs.
boobs." Oh my god. Event. So we cut to Ellen Burstyn and Robert Mitchum. They go back to their house, and Ellen Burstyn is wearing the jewelry that she kind of conned out of the other lady, right? That she
Mhm.
prevented her from buying. And all I could think of during this scene was that jewelry is so loud.
Oh yeah, it's like got a lot of like dangly metal bits on it, and it just sounds like sleigh bells, like
Yep,
it's not something you'd sneak around in, that's for sure.
at 100%. They do a little bit of chit chatting. The scene really is just there to let you know that Robert Mitchum and Ellen Burstyn are a married couple, and that you now realize that she is cheating on her husband. Uh, they're on their way to a political party, and Ellen Burstyn, you can tell that there's some strife in their relationship. She wants to go back to America. He doesn't want to leave. She's made comments that they don't really physically show or express love to each other.
Yeah, it's definitely a strained relationship, which I guess it is supposed to explain why she's kind of fooling around with this random shopkeep. But
At the stuffy party, Robert Mitchum is talking to Donald Pleasance just about politics and shit. And then Ellen Burstyn comes up. She's like, "Hey, man, let's go back to America. Fuck this place." And Robert
she
Mitchum,
seemed to say,
yeah, Robert Mitchum's like, "You're drunk. You're making a scene," which she really wasn't. I made the
yeah,
like,
yeah, like he made it sound like she was trashed and she was like slurring her words and groping people like she's not really making that much of it. She wasn't trashed
yeah,
by any means.
it's not like she's like deep throating phallic objects or like,
Hey, what's
yeah,
to see me eat this banana?
she's not like picking up bus boys. She's not, arguing with people. So I don't really get it. Maybe like when you're an ambassador, that is making a scene. Not making a scene is making a scene.
Yeah, talking at all. Yeah, you mentioned this. It's a very stuffy party. It's oh yes, politics, yes.
As Ellen Burstyn leaves, the 16 to 30-year-old guy follows her. She's gonna go back to Jerusalem, specifically the Jaffa Gate. I don't know why, but that really like stuck out to me. Jaffa Gate. It just
I don't know enough about that city to know if that's like is that a major like landmark or something?
I have no idea. I just thought it sounded cool. It's one of the 7 main gates into the old city of Jerusalem. So there you go.
Okay, so I guess it is a landmark then. That's why, I guess makes sense. That's why a good way to give directions to a cabbie or something.
There's New Gate, Damascus Gate, Herod's Gate, Lion's Gate, Golden Gate, which is closed, the Dung Gate, Zion Gate, and Jaffa Cake. Gate.
Jaffa cake.
Jaffa Cake is a real thing.
Is it?
Yeah. Jaffa Cakes.
Jaffa cake.
Jaffa Cakes, they look like they're like chocolate frosted, essentially just like chocolate frosted cakes.
Like a little Debbie,
Kinda, yeah.
Like a hostess cake,
Biscuit size cakes. Yeah, Jaffa Cakes.
Jaffa cakes. Huh. Today I learned.
There you go. I had another Freudian slip.
I'm talking about ambassador, but I'm really thinking about dessert.
Thinking about eating Jaffa cakes off of Rock Hudson's abs.
Mm.
So as Ellen Burstyn leaves, Rock Hudson comes up to Robert Mitchum, and this was like another. If I did the quote of the week, this would be my quote of the week. Rock Hudson's like, "Hey, where did Alex go?" And Rock Hudson's like, "I don't know," and that's the scene.
Where'd you go? I don't know.
It's just kind of like it's
Okay,
just
then.
this air of no one gives a fuck in this movie.
No. Which makes you think, like we talked earlier about how these are fairly big names in this shitty canon movie. Was this had to have just been a paycheck for people, right?
I'm assuming so. Or maybe like Menahem Golem and Globus were just kind of like political intrigue movies means really serious acting and
Oh yeah.
like no emotions.
They pitched they were okay. So you're thinking this is a direction problem then?
It has to be. I don't think the director could seriously sit there, watch these people do this, and go, "This is okay."
Wow, those are great performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably there's probably like a million other takes on the cutting room floor where they're actually like emoting, and the director's like, no, this is serious. Bring it down a notch.
Bring it down 5
Bring
notches.
it down 10 notches. Action. Ah, yes, bland. That's the way I like it.
Boiled chicken.
Mm.
Ellen Burstyn, she goes back to the jeweler's house as she makes a phone call. I'm assuming to like set up the booty call. As
I never really got an idea of who she was calling in that phone booth. I guess it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, because it also doesn't make any sense. She makes the phone call to instigate the booty call. She sees a light turn off, and then there's an explosion. And then the 15 to 30-year-old looks at a trays of falafels. Like, it was just kind of weird. Immediately, the explosion happens, and Donald Pleasance is aware of it at the party. And he's like, there's been another explosion in Israel? Oh, okay.
People are dead, Donald Pleasance. Don't you care?
Exactly. Again, this just, it goes to show you how much they don't fucking care in this movie. Robert Mitchum and Rock Hudson exit the party. Someone comes up to them and goes, "Hey, your wife, Alex, she said she was going to Jerusalem." And Robert Mitchum's like, "Okay." And then he shows up at home and he's like, "Alex, my wife, are you here?" And then the maid comes out and she's like, No,
she's not.
She's not here. And Rock Hudson is just kind of like, why is he not going, "Hey, fuckface, they said she went to Jerusalem"?
I guess he's just in denial or something. I don't know. I guess that's giving the movie too much credit.
As soon as that conversation's over, Robert Mitchum gets a phone call, and correct me if I'm wrong, and it doesn't really matter. It's a one-way conversation. You only hear Robert Mitchum, right?
Yeah, and this one I think you don't hear the person at the other line. You get a little bit of context of what's happening. He's getting, he's being, "Hey, you need to come. You need to come here immediately. Come alone."
Yeah.
You just get that through context of how he reacts to it.
And Robert Mitchum's like, "They have my wife kidnapped, and if I take anyone else with me, they'll kill her. So Rock, you got to stay here." And it's like, okay, like I get it. During the explosion, they abducted Ellen Burstyn.
See, that's the thing though. Like, I thought she was killed.
Same here.
Because you see the phone booth, the phone booth doesn't like outright explode, but it gets trashed.
Oh yeah.
Like I think it falls apart. And he's like, "Wait, was she supposed to be in there?" Like that looks. Maybe she didn't get like blown to smithereens, but she's probably dead, right? That's what I thought.
It didn't look survivable.
Survivable.
Survivable. So yeah, I don't get that either. Because then Robert Mitchum goes to a movie theater, the world's shittiest movie theater. This must be like a screening room for Canon executives or something like that. It looks
like a closet. It looks like there's like crap hanging on the wall, on the ceiling. Yeah. It looks like a back room. It looks like behind the screen.
Exactly.
It's like a storage closet.
as Robert Mitchum enters the room, the projector turns on and he sees Ellen Burstyn having sex with a jeweler. And of course, it's the footage of the movie that you just watched. It's not from the angle of the bookcase.
Once again, I know we've talked about this in a bunch of episodes where like videotape or TV footage that the characters are watching in the movie is the same footage that we, the audience, get like a couple scenes back.
Yeah.
It's so lazy and stupid. How hard would it have been when they were shooting that sex scene to have one camera for what the audience sees and have another camera, a shittier like 8mm or something, just shoot it alongside from a slightly different angle? How hard would that have been?
It would have been so cheap.
Oh,
If they could have even used like Super 8 film stock. Like it could have
something
been
really cheap
Yeah.
to do. And have it be from like the perspective of wherever they had the secret camera stashed. It's not even they have to have like a camera operator there. Just put it on a freaking dresser and sit it there.
Yep.
Again, I think we're giving it too much credit. Like they probably didn't even think of that.
Nope, probably not. And it didn't seem like Robert Mitchum really put too much thought into his wife having sex with a random person, because he kind of just sits there and watches it, and
the whole thing unflappable too.
I would have given him, I would have gave the movie more credit if he would like got turned on by it, or like there was like a really hard twist, but they don't even go there. He's just kind of like, oh, okay.
He just watches it straight faced. Yeah, no reaction whatsoever. Not even just the predictable reaction of him like getting emotional about it or getting pissed or sad or something. Give us something, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But he runs back to the projector room, and he there's just no one there, and he turns around and it's Ruck Hudson behind him. And at first I was really confused because Ruck Hudson was in the shadows, and I was like, who is that? We haven't seen that character before. And then it turns out that it's just fucking Ruck Hudson
creeping around in the shadows.
And they have this exchange of words, which I'm surprised didn't net the screenwriter an Oscar. Where Robert Mitchum is like, how did you get here? And Ruck Hudson's like, I followed you. Robert Mitchum goes, I drove really fast. Ruck Hudson, so did I.
So did I. Oh, wow. Thanks for clearing that up, guys.
Like, okie dokie dealio. I'm an idiot.
Hey, where's your wife? I don't know.
So they go back to Robert Mitchum's house. Robert Mitchum is told, hey, your wife is in the hospital. So time out. Robert Mitchum was told that his wife was abducted and that she was being held, and that if Robert Mitchum didn't show up at the theater, she'd be killed. But actually, ... she's in a hospital super far away, because the next scene is Ruck Hudson and Robert Mitchum driving for what seems like quite a ways to a hospital. Right?
Yeah. Once again, the classic canon style, the physical geography of this movie is all over the place.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the confusing parts of like expecting the audience to be really versed in the geography of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and where all these landmarks are. Like they needed to point that out somehow. But then, yeah, like people are in the car because they need a car scene.
Yeah.
For ages, it seems like.
Robert Mitchum confronts Ellen Burstyn, and they don't really confront the fact that she cheated on him. You can kind of tell that they both know, right? They both know what went wrong, but Robert Mitchum's more concerned for the health of his wife. And I will say this, Ellen Burstyn acts. She is the only person in the scene that is acting. She's like fucking crying. She looks terrified because she just got almost blown up.
Almost killed, yeah, which you would expect to be a little emotional after having a bomb go off next to your phone booth.
So good on her for actually caring about
giving a performance.
Yes. Next, the ambassador and Ruck Hudson, they're leaving the hospital. They're swarmed by the press, and they do movie trope number 1 that really pisses me off. There's just a reporter inside their car, and for some reason, because she's inside the car, all of a sudden it's okay to talk to this press person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That I forgot about that. That was really weird though. Like in the real world, she would immediately be arrested for trying to get in the car of a foreign diplomat. Are you kidding me?
Uh
She's lucky she didn't get shot.
oh yeah, I was about to say she'd get fucking dropped, dude.
Like she could be wearing a bomb.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know. Are you kidding me? Ugh.
It's insane. Um
But no, because she's a pretty girl and she somehow got in the car. Oh, good on you. You did it. You deserve an interview, apparently.
exactly.
What?
Robert Mitchum's like, hey, why don't you just call the counselorship? We'll set up an interview. And that never happens in the entire film. And Rock Hudson's like, fuck off. And she's like, okay, CIA, dude.
What?
And then we get Robert Mitchum's in his office now, and he is getting blackmailed for the movie. The guy on the phone is like, Robert Mitchum gets a telephone call, and it's like, hey, I want $1 million, or I'm going to release the video of your wife having sex with this dude. And Robert Mitchum is like, I don't give a shit. You can show everyone that. I don't care.
Adultery is nothing new. Do whatever you want. No one's gonna care.
Now,
What?
I'll say in this day and age, in 2021, I don't think it matters, right? There's so many
24-hour news cycle. It would be hot stuff for a while. I mean, I guess he would reasonably be worried about his career. It's not a good look. He'd probably get, forced to resign or something. But it wouldn't be like life ending.
Yeah.
I don't think. Not today.
Oh no, because I mean there's so much so much content out there
Yeah.
to compete with that it's immediately going to get washed under the rug.
Forgotten about, yeah.
Exactly. But I just love his dismissal of it. And then the movie could have ended right here because Robert Mitchum never changes throughout the entire film.
No. And that this is the one big piece of leverage that whoever the bad guys are have over him.
So
and he just doesn't give a shit. So
Greg,
okay, there we go.
how the fuck can you have a political thriller where the MacGuffin is a sex tape, where the main character just doesn't fucking care about it?
You're right. You're 100% right. Again, that's a big piece of leverage that should drive the central character to work in the shadows and to work against his best interests and risk his career and his life and his marriage and all this stuff. That should be the keystone to this, all of the drama that happens. But he just doesn't care. Fine, release it. Give a copy to the president or whatever they say. I don't care.
Yeah. After the phone call, Robert Mitchum and oh my God, Rock Hudson. I forgot his name when I've been saying it like 1,000 times.
He's Rucker Hauer now.
Rucker Hauer. They have a quick conversation, essentially just recapping all the events that we just saw. And then Robert Mitchum goes home and he finally has a conversation with Ellen Burstyn about her infidelity. And they're like, hey, we've been together for fucking decades and we've broken up 18 times. You having sex with some dude doesn't really mean anything to me. I maybe if Robert Mitchum if you saw him on the side doing it, I guess fine, whatever, but it doesn't really make sense for him to be so cavalier about it.
Yeah, this again, if the main characters don't care about the dramatic things happening in your movie, why would the audience care?
Exactly.
I can't even explain it. It's just so bizarre that not one character seems to care about all the terrible, risky, scary things happening in their life.
Oh, you know what? I just forgot. So let's flash back really quick because this is kind of comments on the beginning of the film when Ellen Burstyn and Robert Mitchum, we realize that they're a couple and they're getting ready for the date or for the stuffy party.
For the party, yeah.
So Ellen Burstyn and Robert Mitchum are having a conversation. He's like, hey, how was your day today? Did you go horseback riding? And she was like, yeah, I rode an Israeli horse. The guy that she had sex with was Israeli, right? And then he was like, how did you ride the horse, right? Saddle, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Side saddle, Western or something, equestrian things, blah,
yeah.
blah, blah.
And she was like bareback. Dude, she did not use a condom. All right. Anyways,
Did you really say that?
yes, I have
Oh
it.
my God.
I have it here.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Well, that would have been the quote of the week had I actually like picked up on that because I was clearly sidetracked. Oh my God.
Yeah. I was just like, that's insane that they put some kind of like entendre in there like that.
So, okay. That begs the question then, is that the writers, kind of like, like nudging the audience and winking at them? Or is that Ellen Burstyn's character poking fun at her husband? Is that in the universe of the movie or outside?
I think maybe it is Ellen Burstyn because she complains even in this scene how he doesn't seem to care about her, right? So maybe she's like dropping these hints that she's doing this stuff and he's not even picking it up because is he really paying attention to his wife?
Yeah, like she's testing to see how much he's actually paying attention. That's a good point. I could believe that. But wow, that's
that was insane.
I rode bareback. Wink, wink. Jesus.
But they fall asleep lovingly into each other's arms, and it seems pretty much everything is okie dokie between the two.
Which it absolutely should not be.
Yeah. But I guess I'll put it this way. Robert Mitchum, he looks like an old hound dog. Ellen Burstyn is up in the age. I don't think there's no, I mean, this is pre-internet, so they're not going to find, oldpeople.com, so
gifts.com.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe their options are limited. She has a lifestyle she's accustomed to that he provides for, and he doesn't want to lose half his shit.
I guess, which is kind of sad, but it still doesn't explain the fact that they're still kind of cuddly, and affectionate towards one another.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know either. Stupid movie.
But hey, I thought it was funny because they had that heart-to-heart, touchy-feely moment, and Ellen Burstyn is back in Jerusalem the next day, trying to get with the jeweler. Like she goes to Jerusalem, she sees him from afar. Meanwhile, like the reporter lady from earlier is taking a bunch of photos of him, and she confronts the jeweler. She was like, hey, they made a sex tape. What are we going to do? And Ruck Hudson comes out of fucking nowhere, punches the jeweler, and he's like, he's a terrorist. I was like, whoa.
Really taking it to 11. Like, I mean, do they establish him having known about this guy's like other associations at this point? Like, I thought for all he knows, he's just a shopkeep.
Yeah, no, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. But then the shopkeep is like, yeah, I'm part of the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. And he cops up to pretty much everything except for making the sex tape.
Right. He at least rules himself out like, it wasn't me.
Yeah. So then Ruck Hudson puts Ellen Burstyn in a cab and he's like, take her back to Robert Mitchum. The taxi gets maybe like 5 minutes down the road and Ellen Burstyn's like, I need to go back. Take me back.
Just turn around.
And I was like, oh my God. Because when she gets back to the jeweler, he's like naked or just got done showering. And I was like, she's going to fucking chow down again.
Honestly, that's what I was so shocked when it happened the first time. I thought that's what was going to happen again. Is like, are they really going to double dip on this Ellen Burstyn topless sex scene thing? But of course it didn't happen.
Nope. My note,
sadly,
my note goes, Alex goes back. She's been honey dicked. And then there's always like prying eyes that are kind of looking at Ellen Burstyn as she's walking through Israel or Jerusalem. And all I could think of, she's wearing like a shawl of sorts, right? If she fucking put her blonde hair underneath it, she would be a lot better at hiding.
Yeah, I get the impression that she was trying to like cover up a little because she's got dark sunglasses also.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's still completely recognizable because her hair is mostly out. Yeah, just cover up a little bit more, put a hat on, something.
We cut to the next day and Donald Pleasance is talking to some rando we've never met before. And he finds out that the Mossad, which, do you know what the Mossad is? It's like it's like the CIA of Israel.
Yeah, yeah.
If I could fucking pronounce the words of what the Mossad is, it's the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, but it has like a Hebrew name. It looks really cool, but there's no way I could say that. Um,
And probably best not to try. So
exactly.
it's the Israeli CIA. That's that's good enough description.
Donald Pleasance finds out that the Mossad made the sex film and it got inadvertently stolen. So now Donald Pleasance is like, if that gets out and they find out the Mossad did this, we're screwed, dude. We got to find that sex tape.
Yeah, which I actually have to give a little credit. Like that was actually an interesting wrinkle into the story. Like we already kind of had like the fuse got blown out on, oh, like, okay, well, the ambassador doesn't care and the wife doesn't seem to care. So this actually adds another dramatic element that characters might care about. So which I appreciated.
It's interesting that Donald Pleasance cares 1,000% more than everyone else.
Yeah, which like they've got just as much to lose as he does. Like, it would cause an international incident no matter what, and he's the only one who seems to care about it.
It's weird. It's definitely weird. So they go to the company that makes the film prints, and this is where we see the Hook and a couple other creepy people that we saw in the very beginning of the film. So if you weren't paying attention to the very beginning of the film with all the intercut things going on, we see some shady people at this film company.
Yeah.
And essentially Donald Pleasance and the Mossad are getting the runaround. They're like, there's no way that this film could have been made here because there's too many checks and balances, right?
Yeah, like they're talking about like identifying numbers on film prints, like the part of the development process, everything is ID'd, and whenever copies are made, it's got like some technobabble explanation for why it could not have possibly been duplicated in that lab, which I don't think comes up any other time later, does it?
No, it doesn't. And what's funny is as soon as that happens, Rock Hudson shows up. And this is when I realized that this guy was the Hook, because I was like, man, that guy's really short and he looks very familiar. I was like, that's the Hook. Rock Hudson shows up and he's like, hey, sex tape. It was made here. And he's pretty much like, yeah, go talk to that person over there. And he gets knocked out. And then it gets really complicated and confusing because like the Mossad is there still, even though they were just told that they weren't a part of it. And then again, Rock Hudson is getting the runaround as well.
Because like the Hook and one of his female accomplices was pretending to be the management of the film like development lab.
Yeah.
But they weren't actually the real ones. Like, because when he comes to, it's different people.
And then he sees a random woman that he's never seen before and in his mind went, that's the real person, and just runs off after her. Thus ensues a really shitty car chase in finger quotes.
Yes.
It's
like it's low speed and it's set to like weird disco music, yeah. I think.
And it's very tightly framed to give a sense of urgency, but nothing really happens.
Yeah. The most entertaining thing, which I sent you a screenshot of this. There's a part in the chase where the lady in her like sky blue VW Bug, which is a stupid color for a car, she drifts around the corner really hard, and then the chase car with Rock Hudson in it like takes that same turn really hard, and they cut to like a close-up of him like reacting to this really hard turn that the car is making, and he has just the dumbest look on his face. I had to pause the movie because I was cracking up so bad. It's like, you normally when you expect you're taking a tight turn, you're kind of like grimacing and you're bracing against the G forces. Right? Anyone can imagine how they would react to like a really hard turn in a car. He looks more dumbfounded than anything. Like he just saw like a really crazy magic trick or something. He just like, Gah?
Cars turn?
Cars what? I wish I could accurately describe it. We'll have to find a way to like, maybe share the screenshot on Twitter or something, but it's just like the dumbest look on his face. Like, oh God, like, That was the best take that they got.
Uh,
Like was the director asleep at the wheel?
I think everyone was asleep at the wheel except for Ellen Burstyn.
Seriously, like
Uh,
just really weird.
Yep. And again, like the movie's excitement, even during the exciting parts, just it never picks up because we get this in finger quotes car chase.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Robert Mitchum talking to college students about peaceful protests and trying to get Palestine and Israel to stop going out to war. And the scene just it plays out for so long. And it's supposed to be tense because someone is about to shoot Robert Mitchum, but because someone throws like a tomato at him, he misses the shot. And then the scene's just over. There's no consequence to the fucking actions for
Yeah,
people
like
in this movie.
the assassin, like you normally in those scenes, I feel like he would miss the shot and he'd be like, "Oh shit, I need to get out of here." And then there would be there would be a chase that happens after that where
Yeah.
the assassin's trying to get away.
Or like he shot one of the kids in
Oh
the
yeah,
crowd.
yeah, which would cause even more like incident. I mean, so many other different ways it could go. But no, you're right. He just misses the shot and it ends, and we have no idea what happens.
The best part of that scene though is someone, I think Robert Mitchum says reason will prevail. Just like Always Sunny.
Reason will prevail. Not be like these science bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Rock Hudson, meanwhile, is interrogating the film print lady, and he starts honey dicking her. He's like, "Oh, hey, baby, we can take you to America. I'll set you up with an allowance. You can get whatever you want, baby."
Anything.
And it works
Better
immediately. She starts diming out everyone. She's like, "That guy killed Abraham Lincoln. That dude shot Kennedy, and this is the guy who made the film print."
Why would she? They know who shot Lincoln.
That's Rock Hudson's just dumbfounded. He's like, "I didn't need to know any of this. I just need the sex tape.
Just give me the sex tape.
Give me that sweet, sweet sex tape."
How great of it would a twist it would have been if it was just like Rock Hudson acting completely alone. He just wants the sex tape for his personal collection.
It's like at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. He just has like a warehouse full of sex tapes and he just like logs it in there.
Yeah, he's just some secret porno collecting sex weirdo.
Oh, I love it. That's the movie that I want.
The Ambassador.
The Ambassador. Ass is like uppercase.
The Ambassador.
Oh,
excellent.
Instead, yeah, she dimes out everyone that's a part of the sex tape ring. And meanwhile, Robert Mitchum and Ellen Burstyn are at home, and the reporter comes up and she's like, "Hey, Ellen's a go-between for you and political stuff. And if I tell people this, it'll ruin your career." And I don't really understand why it would. But it could. And Ellen Burstyn's like, "I have a really good husband, and I hope when you have a husband, no one does this to him." And it makes the reporter think.
Yeah, that's totally not believable at all. Because you're like, "Do you have a boyfriend?" Well, no. Well, when you do, I hope you don't treat him the same way that you're treating my husband now. Like, okay, well, I'm still gonna run that article, so bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally unbelievable that she'd actually be influenced by that in some way. Yeah, I do want a husband someday. So unrealistic.
Very. And then the editor, because we're at a little over the hour mark, realizes this fucking movie needs to end.
Oh shit.
So
it's due tomorrow.
Exactly. So Rock Hudson, all of a sudden, he's like a man of action. He gets one of the film persons and he gets him kidnapped, and the Mossad picks him up. And then he has a confrontation with the Hook and he gets his money back. And I think this is where your quote of the week comes in.
It is, yeah. This is like the one. This is when I mentioned earlier. This is the one scene where we see Rock Hudson actually do acting. Like he gives off some emotion, some anger and intensity when he's having this initial face off with the Hook, who's like eating his lunch in a restaurant, and he like barges into his table when his mouth is full, and he pulls out a gun and shoves it into the Hook's crotch under the table, and he says, "I got a gun, cocked and ready to shoot your balls off."
Keep your hands on the table.
What do you want?
I've got a gun, cocked, ready to shoot your balls off.
Oh! What do you want?
Yes. And the Hook he is very concerned.
What do you want? It's just like it almost feels like it's from a different movie, because we don't see any of the characters do any kind of action movie sorts of things except for now and the handful of violent scenes that happen in the end.
Yeah.
It feels like a major tonal whiplash compared to all the boring people who don't care about what's going on, and all of a sudden we see the Hook reacting to a gun in his crotch. Whoa.
As he's talking to the Hook, there's I guess a little more reveals and intrigue that come along with it, but it's happening so late game that I got lost in the names that were getting thrown around. But it cuts back to Robert Mitchum and Ellen Burstyn, and she's like, "Hey, they got in contact with the jewelry guy that I had sex with, and he's going to pay them $500,000 for the film." And Robert Mitchum's like, "No, I want to meet this guy. I'm not going to kill him. I just want to meet him." And again, when Robert Mitchum and the jewelry guy have their confrontation, it's a non-confrontation. And Robert Mitchum's like, "Hey, we need to talk about peace." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
We can pinpoint that this is exactly when that whole sex tape thing goes out the window.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I know you're going to pay off the people blackmailing you, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? We need to talk about peace in the Middle East."
Yeah.
And you made that joke about the editor realizing the movie needs to end. I think also the editor realized, oh crap, this is a movie about Middle East peace. We need to have a serious scene about Middle East peace. Otherwise it's going to be a stupid movie.
Exactly. So we had the one where Robert Mitchum talks to the young people about it from Palestine. So now we have the jewelry guy talking to young Israelis about peace, and they have the same reaction where they're like, "We don't want peace, blah blah blah.
They don't listen to us." Yeah.
We hate them. They kill us. We'll kill them. Cut to Ruck Hudson interrogating people by throwing them into the water, bound by rope. Horrifying.
That was the Hook again too.
It was the Hook.
It's like, "I can't swim."
Yeah. He's like, "That's okay. We got you tied up to a rope." And again, there's a lot of talking here, and a lot of names, and the names are meaningless because we don't know anyone's name in this movie.
Yeah, I think he's giving up the people who are behind the sex tape and behind this whole blackmail plot, but we don't know. Yeah, you're right. We don't know who those are. So there's no emotional impact from uh-oh, they're revealing the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna go get him now. Okay, who are these people? Not enough to care.
When you watch a thriller, while you should see a good 60% of the film from the point of view of the good guy, you do need that 40% where you see it from the bad guy, like movies like The Fugitive. Have you seen The Fugitive?
Oh, yeah, where you get scenes from Harrison Ford's point of view and from Tommy Lee Jones and the Marshals' point of view.
And you also realize that the bad guy was one of Harrison Ford's friends, so you got to know him as you went through the movie.
And I think what you're getting at is the tension of the movie comes from the fact that the audience knows more than any one character.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh no, they're going to find out that so-and-so is doing so-and-so."
Yeah.
The tension comes when you realize that when the characters come to the realizations that you made 20 minutes ago when you learned it. But we don't get that because we don't know more. The characters know more than we do. And we're just going along for the ride.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep. So there's more fucking talking about peace.
Blah, 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 blah.
And then everyone goes to an ancient ruin to talk about peace.
Yeah, Robert Mitchum makes a deal with the shopkeep because apparently he's the PLO lead guy, and they're like, "Okay, let's see if we can get our respective young people student groups to come together, meet at this neutral location, and have a peaceful discussion to try and broker peace." And it goes on for like 10 minutes. It goes on forever. It feels like.
Oh yeah, it's insane. And then somehow Donald Pleasance gets told that they're having this like peace meeting, and he's like, oh shit, it's gonna be a bloodbath up there. They're gonna get fucking nuked. And as soon as he says this, just armed terrorists come out of nowhere and just start fucking wasting everyone in sight.
Yeah, it's really violent. Really violent. Like in the same way that Rock Hudson shoving a gun in the Hook's crotch was kind of tonal whiplash. This is imagine like a really violent scene from like a Vietnam era war movie. That's what this feels like. There's just so much blood and squibs going off and people like writhing and screaming in pain. It really comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it does. It's so
It's-
weird.
It's horrifying. Like, and we watch a lot of like gory horror movies. There's something, I mean, context definitely matters. And this is a good example of it. Like, it's not the most violent thing we've ever seen before, but in the context of this movie, it feels really violent and uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah, because it, again, like you said, it just comes out of nowhere and you don't see it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then Rock Hudson, Ellen Burstyn, Donald Pleasance show up and they're like, whoa, shit, that's a lot of dead bodies. And Robert Mitchum's like, yeah, let's go back to America.
It's like, fuck this shit. I don't need this noise.
Yeah.
Let's get back here to Texas.
And then so they go back to the house and there's again a lone assassin that if you weren't paying super attention to, you would realize that you haven't seen him since the first 5 minutes of this film. And he's lining up his shot to kill Robert Mitchum. And out of nowhere, Rock Hudson comes in, just shoots him in the head.
Ugh.
And then Rock Hudson gets the film because this assassin, for some reason, had the movie. And
The editor realizes, oh crap, we didn't tie up the sex tape thing. Give it to the assassin.
exactly. So, and again, this is what really pisses me off about this movie. Rock Hudson walks up to Robert Mitchum, sex tape in hand, and goes, hey, I killed the fucking assassin who's about to kill you, and I got the sex tape. And Robert Mitchum looks at him, shakes his head, and goes into his house. No, thank you for saving my life. No, like, hey, let's watch that bad boy. Nothing. He just fucking leaves.
No reaction whatsoever. I would taken any reaction over this. Even the weird, like, hey, let's go watch that tape. It'll be pretty sexy, huh, man?
Yeah.
Like, which would have been weird, but at least it would have been interesting and entertaining and funny bad. He just doesn't react at all. He's okay. And walks away.
As Robert Mitchum's getting consoled by his wife, they hear like the chanting of like peace, peace, peace.
Peace, peace, peace.
And they go out and they look out and they see a whole bunch of people with candles lit, chanting for peace. And you're just to assume that it's Palestinians and Israelis coming together to give peace a chance. Rock Hudson looks confused as fuck. Robert
Rightfully
Mitchum
so.
actually sheds a tear. He's like, okay, this is your one scene where you get to me to act. And that's the movie.
And that's the movie. We end on a horrible, like unearned, sappy, Hallmark movie kind of crappy ending.
That's the ambassador. Emphasis on ass.
When you post this, can you please put ass in all caps?
Oh yeah, I will. I'll do that. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. It's a fucking 1 star.
Yeah, it was a 1 star for me too. There were a couple of things. I think we probably had more fun trying to pick it apart and understand it and make fun of it. But we can't give the movie any credit for that.
No.
That's just us. It was pretty bad. We were joking on Discord about how I like made that gif of me falling asleep at my desk way back when we were watching. I think it was Making the Grade. It wasn't quite like putting me to sleep boring, but I was definitely multitasking,
Oh, I don't blame you.
doing other stuff while watching this. I think the one thing I wanted to mention was that you mentioned the Wikipedia page for this. I actually edited the Wikipedia page for this movie.
Did you?
While I was watching it, yeah.
I wonder if it got changed back. What did you put in there?
So remember when there's a paragraph in the plot summary where they talk about having the affair and it was caught on videotape?
Yeah.
They said videotape. I changed it to film because it was film and not videotape.
Oh my.
That I was so
God,
bored by the movie, I
Greg.
made a horrible, pedantic Wikipedia edit.
There it is, August
Instead.
8th. Oh
Yeah,
my
there it is.
God. That's insane. Good on you.
And I gave a description too. It better not get undone because that is 100. Because it's film.
Yeah.
Film does not equal videotape,
Nope.
and it being film is important to the plot because it comes up later when they go to the development lab
Yeah.
to do investigation.
Because videotape is magnetic and it's like instantaneous, but here they had to get it developed.
Yeah, it's a photochemical process. It's a completely different medium.
Oh my God.
Take that, idiot who originally wrote the plot summary.
Yeah, idiots. Wikipedia idiots.
Wikipedia idiots. But again, that's how unengaging the real movie was. And I was making minor edits to the Wikipedia page instead of actually watching the movie.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's the other thing I wanted to mention about it, because I'm sure there are tons of movies about the Middle East and the peace process and the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. We won't go into that whole thing. That's a deep well that we're not going to jump into. But I'm sure it's been done better.
Oh yeah.
And in a general sense, there's a right way to do a movie between two conflicting sides that both are kind of sympathetic or should be. And you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
Oh, yeah.
One of the new ones. Remember how good a job that movie did, where there are assholes on both sides of that conflict, and you're just so frustrated because they get so close to brokering peace when what's his name is becoming friends with Caesar to repair the dam.
Yep.
And you're so pissed off when the assholes on both sides jump the gun and attack each other, and it just all falls apart. That's how you do a movie like that. The movie about talking chimpanzees did a better job showing both sides in a conflict being sympathetic than this movie.
Well, I guess you
So
finally
embarrassing.
made a monkey out of me.
You finally made a monkey. Yes, we finally made a monkey. You finally made a monkey out of me.
I love it.
Yay. Oh, Simpsons. Classic.
Yeah.
During
the filming of this, between the winter of 1983 and 1984, the two leading stars, Robert Mitchum and Ruck Hudson, reportedly did not get along with each other. A lifelong alcoholic, Mitchum was said to have been frequently drunk on and off camera, and often verbally clashed with Hudson, who's in poor health, which held up production for days.
I mean, okay, so I guess that kind of gives Ruck Hudson a pass on not emoting, even though he had that one cool scene with the hook. But you'd think that if Robert Mitchum was wasted the whole time, why didn't any of that come on screen?
I don't know.
You'd think he'd be flying off the handle and overreacting to things. I guess.
You'd think so. Robert Mitchum made this film because he had recently been accused of anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial.
Oh no!
Oh no, Robert, you're stupid.
Oh, you idiot! What a sleazy reason to do a movie.
Yep.
Just to clear your name of some bad press.
It's different when it's like a PSA movie because you kind of know,
so and so got caught drunk driving, so now he's doing a drunk driving PSA for kids.
Exactly. The Johnny Depp drunk driving PSA because he got caught doing this shit.
And that actually reminds me that there's a part in the movie at one point where Donald Pleasance is talking to Robert Mitchum, and they're in a Holocaust museum, and it just felt so sleazy to show real photographs from concentration camps in this horrible, shitty movie.
Yeah.
Ugh. And that him having that motivation for making it just is the cherry on the sundae.
Did you know that this movie was based off of a 1974 crime novel called The 52 Pickup by Elmer Leonard?
No, this was based on a book?
Yes.
That must have been a shitty book.
Oh, fuck. It was so shitty that it was actually made into two different movies. You have The Ambassador, 1984, and then you have the movie 52 Pickup that was made in 1986. It stars Roy Scheider,
Hey,
John
Jaws guy.
Glover, Vanity from Prince. She's
Vanity.
Yep.
Prince protege.
And Ron Jeremy is in it.
So clearly the superior movie.
Yeah. And Margaret is the wife. The tagline is his wife, his mistress, his career, a deadly trap.
Oh my God. Can we watch that movie instead? It's probably way worse.
Let's see here. The reviews for 52 Pickup is 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
That's got to be better than Ambassador, right?
The Ambassador sits at a cool 5.4. So it's
Hey.
1 whole point more. But I'll say this. 52 Pickup has 5.6 thousand people reviewed it. And the Ambassador only has 677.
So it has a better review in aggregate of more reviews.
Yes. The Ambassador, 34 people gave it a 10.
Who are these people?
I don't know. Idiots.
I wouldn't surprise me if this was like something that played on cable TV at some point. And although I take that back, this would be a weird movie to have like cable TV when you were a kid kind of nostalgia over. There's nothing fun about it.
This is old person sitting in an old folks home watching it.
Oh, I remember Ruck Hudson and Robert Mitchum. They were heartthrobs back in the day.
Exactly. Grandma's still denying that Ruck Hudson's gay.
And that Robert Mitchum is apparently an anti-Semitic asshole.
Yeah. Grandpa saw Ellen Burstyn's boobs. And
oh, my husband really liked the first 10 minutes. I don't know why.
Exactly. That part has been rewound so many times. Yeah, I don't know. I think we've said everything we could possibly say.
Yeah, it's not entertaining. It's not really funny bad. It doesn't say anything meaningful it doesn't have any meaningful message about the Middle East conflict. It's just bad.
It's just bad.
Yeah. There are a million other political thrillers out there that you could be watching instead. Just watch one of those.
But what have you been watching, Greg? Instead of this trash that we watched, did you watch anything good this week?
I did, yeah. I figured that's good. We can chat about things that we actually like wanted to watch as part of these episodes, maybe sometimes. So there were two things I wanted to mention. One, we went to go see The Green Knight.
Oh my
God! At the
God!
Alamo Drafthouse.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Was it amazing? Oh no!
It's hard to articulate my feelings on this movie because objectively, I know it was a good movie. It looked great. It had good performances. I just am apparently enough of like a smooth brain that I just feel like I didn't get it. Like, I feel like the fact that I don't know enough about the mythology and a lot of the symbolism that I'm sure was there in terms of like color palette and objects and lines and scenes. I just feel like a lot of it went over my head. Becky really enjoyed it because she's much more well-read than I am and knows a lot of the folklore. She really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it too. It was kind of dreamlike. And like I said, it looked really good. It had that kind of A24, indie movie look that I quite enjoy. I feel like a lot of it, I just didn't get. Maybe on subsequent viewings, it will be more understandable, but
I think there's plenty of movies like that where I watch it and I'm like, I know I liked it. What is it? The Lighthouse with Batman and the Green Goblin.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson. Yeah.
I know I liked it. I don't know if I got everything about it.
Yeah, it's not that I dislike it for making me feel stupid, but I kind of felt like if I were smarter or more well-read, I would have appreciated it more. Because I feel like I was just enjoying it on the surface value, just like visually and the sound quality. So, I mean, maybe I'll go read some Arthurian legends and come back to it at some point. But I also watched, and this was much more accessible to my ignoramus brain. I finally watched that movie on Netflix called Gunpowder Milkshake. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. That's the one with
with Nebula.
Yeah, Nebula.
Karen Gillian. Yeah, Karen Gillian. Yeah, her and a couple of other really prominent like female action stars. I thought it was great. Had like great visual style, really colorful. Had some like John Wick DNA in it, where there's like this whole underground culture society of assassins, and they've got their own kind of like, systems and currency and things like that. It was cool. It was kind of comic booky, and I love Angela Bassett was in it, is like kind of like an arms dealing librarian, which is awesome. I love seeing her and stuff. So yeah, it was great. Really fun kind of action movie with good style to it. Definitely check that out.
Does she use her real accent?
Who, Karen Gillian?
Yeah.
No, I think she's putting on another American accent. She doesn't have that kind of like husky deep voice that she puts on when she's playing Nebula in the Marvel movies, but she's not using her. She's like got a Scottish accent, right?
Oh yeah.
Like thick one. Yeah. She does good American accent. So
Karen, I know you don't listen, but if you're listening, just start using your real voice. It's amazing. Let's see.
What have you been watching, Phil?
I watched The Suicide Squad.
Yes.
It was
the redo.
The reboot, reimagining, redone, redizzle.
Redizzle.
It was really good. It's a solid 4.5 out of 5. I really can't say much about the movie because it will spoil so much of it to say, this character, that character, I liked what they did, and you'd be able to connect what happens or who doesn't make it. But if you really hate spoilers, you should watch it sooner rather than later.
Before you just you get those spoilers through osmosis being on the internet, right?
Yes.
Cool.
And then I watched Ghost in the Shell on 4K. I got that on 4K.
Oh, that's the original anime film,
yep.
Right?
I watched. Jackie's never seen it. The anime. She's a big fan of the Scarlett Johansson live action one, which I thought the movie is really good too.
I haven't seen either. I'm interested to see it now. If there's a 4K release of it, I bet it looked great.
It did, and Jackie thought it was going to be kind of like actiony because that's what the American remake live action is.
Of course,
but this is very introspective. And Jackie was very tired. She was like, I was not expecting that. And I don't know if I got everything that they were saying.
She's falling asleep in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I started watching King Kong versus Godzilla on the Criterion, the original one, like from the big Godzilla box set that I got.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you got that coffee table book sized collection of all the Godzilla movies.
But my kid wanted to play some Fortnite, so I made it to the point where King Kong shows up, and I got to see the Japanese people do blackface, and I forgot about that.
Oh no!
It was so horrible. But yeah.
Oh god, I gotta turn this off.
So that's like the highlights of what I've watched. I watched a lot of Bob's Burgers this week too.
Oh my god, you and my wife are just obsessed with Bob's Burgers. I like the show, but I'm not that obsessed with it. I'm not gonna rewatch it to the degree I rewatch like The Office or The Simpsons.
I think on Saturday I watched 5 episodes.
Not quite like an all-day binge, but
no.
a solid chunk.
You got to think. I go out for a walk. I do a couple other things. But if I'm not watching something, I'm probably playing a video game. Yeah.
That's true. At least you got on the. Becky has always said that it's good to have on in the background.
Yeah.
When you're doing other things too, it's kind of lighthearted comedy. So
exactly.
Cool.
Well.
So what are we watching? What are we watching next? What's up next in the canon library, or are we going to another similar film?
Oh no, we're not going to another similar film. We're gonna dive right into the shit.
We're still in this shit. We're gonna take another pass.
And I'm gonna put on my best trailer guy voice.
In a world of shit.
Prequel to the first Missing in Action. Set in the early 1980s, it shows the capture of Colonel Braddock during the Vietnam War in the 1970s and his captivity with other American POWs and his plan to escape. Missing in Action 2, the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Another Chuck Norris.
Yes. We're finally swinging. I think with the failure of The Ambassador and the failure of, what was the one before it?
The Final Executioner.
Yeah. I think this is when they finally start realizing we should really just start keep doing crappy action films.
Yeah. Because this is post the Apple, right?
Yeah.
So they've already had one big financial flop. Then they did The Ambassador, which I'm assuming was a flop too. And they tried to do when they try to do like a serious political thriller. Yeah, maybe at this point, you're right. They've learned what their bread and butter is, and they're going to try to go back to it.
So we're gonna watch. Yes, we're gonna watch Missing in Action to the beginning, which remember, this was actually made before Missing in Action. So I'm gonna set you up here. If you forgot, they watched both the movies and they went Missing in Action is the better one. Release that one first.
Which doesn't bode well for us because we know the game.
Yep.
We know to go in with low expectations.
You can watch this on HBO Max, and it looks like it's on Hulu as well.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
you can watch it freemium if you have those streaming services. Greg, do you have anything else? I think we definitely touched on the quote of the week, but you'll hear it again here.
Keep your hands on the table.
What do you want?
I've got a gun cocked. Ready to shoot your balls off.
Oh! What do you want?
Awesome. Oh my God.
Wow.
Loved it.
We love you, Rucker Howard.
Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's all there is to say about The Ambassador. May it live forever in obscurity.
Yes, The Ambassador. Well, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Give us some constructive criticism on how we can make this podcast more enjoyable to you. You can follow us on YouTube at That's Canon. You can subscribe to our TikTok at That's Canon Podcasts. And you can also email us at thatscanon@gmail.com. The email is that's THATSCANNON@gmail.com. And remember, since we said it,
That's canon.
there we go.
We have a TikTok now?
What did we do today?